basketball. You're listening to the Clayton State Sports Network. Sitting here after the game with Coach Kaleena Coleman. Coach, congratulations, another victory.
Thank you, thank you.
May not have been as pretty as you wanted it to be, but you're victorious. You know, most coaches will tell you in a heartbeat they'll take an ugly win
That's right.
over a good loss.
That's right.
You know, now, part of that is obviously score 77-50. Few things I jotted down throughout the basketball game. Let's focus on the positives. The positives, I came up with what I like to refer to as H2O,
Okay.
and that's Hines plus Hawkins equals offense. Because what tends to happen is when you have Tweety Hawkins, Alexis Hines on the court at the same time, defensively, they're everywhere. They create a lot of turnovers, a lot of easy transition baskets.
Okay.
Speak to that.
Um, yeah, well, we've been practicing on that a lot, okay, since preseason at the beginning of the year, because one thing our main focus I wanted us to do was be better defensively.
Right.
Okay. I wanted us to be able to press for 40 minutes and get up and down, fly around, and then I told them, okay, when we doing it, just do it and have fun.
Right.
Okay, just try to have fun, but don't forget to focus on our main parts that we want. We want pressure on the ball, we want traps, and we're going to try to get steals out of it.
Right.
Anticipating the steals. So that's what they did, and when we practiced on it all week. You know, the little things, some of the stuff that we needed correcting from last loss, I would say, against Lubbock Christian. And I thought they was better today.
Right. I
So,
noticed you came with a lot of back traps today.
yeah.
You know, as I was explaining during the broadcast, in the onset, Courtney Williams was turning her back a lot. And when
Oh,
she
yeah.
would turn her back, you were sending that second defender for that trap. You also like to get them right there in what I like to call a sweet spot from a defensive standpoint. It's almost like if you have one defender and you catch that basketball at half court, it's like you're playing against 3 against 1
You're
because
right.
you got that sideline and that half
That's
court
right.
line. But you're sending 2 defenders.
Yeah.
So now it's like it's 4-on-1.
Yeah.
And if you're not smart enough to retreat, dribble, and look over the top where there should be an advantage, it's going to be an easy turnover.
I know.
So that's what you guys been doing. But the beautiful thing, what I see that's allowing you to do that, fresh legs.
Oh, yeah.
One point in time, I looked at all your guards. No one on the team had played over 23, 24 minutes, and that's before I even looked at the final stats. But when I looked at the lack of minutes that Tiara Johnson had played and that Alexis Hines had played, it's unbelievable what they make happen in the short period of time that you have them on the floor.
Oh, yeah. Tierra Johnson, just speaking on her, you know, that was last year with her sitting out, that was a big loss.
Okay.
Every time she get hit, you know, on the court, I hold my breath like, oh God, because you know she had that surgery, a shoulder injury.
Right.
But she's a spark all by herself. So
Well, I call her Beat Beat.
be,
She like a road runner, man. She's all over the court.
Yes,
She
she
gets out in
is.
transition.
Yes.
And what I love about her, she's going to finish. If she doesn't
Yes.
finish, she's going to attack the rim and
Exactly.
go to that line.
Exactly.
I love that about her.
Tierra has one speed. You know, we working on changing speed.
Right.
You know, when to go, when not to go, slow
Right.
it down. But I love that about her. I love her defensive intensity. Like, anyone can start for us. Okay, but Tierra, of course, you know, she can start. But I choose not to
Right.
because you just got to have that spark, that
gotta have that energy.
coming off the bench.
Yeah, she
And
brings it.
she brings it.
She brings it.
She brings it.
Now, speaking of you talking about anyone can start, I always say with your personnel, KYP, know your personnel.
Exactly.
And here's why I say that. Today, you extended and went 13, 14, 15 deep. There's nobody else in the Peach Belt Conference that can do that. I'm not trying to gas you up early.
Don't worry.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Most teams will not go that deep. You know
Exactly.
that as well as I do.
I do.
You've surveyed the conference. You've surveyed the teams, your opponents. Speak to how does it feel being able to go that deep in your bench, and even if, let's say, you sub in, you know, two of the young ladies that haven't played, whether it's a Khadijah Howe or you sub in Denard or someone like that, but you can put those 2 with 3 other players
Exactly.
that are used to playing.
Exactly.
There's no drop off.
Exactly.
How's that feel?
That feels great. That's great. Because like I told you from the last game, I'm trying to get back to what we used to doing, okay? Get back to what got us to where we are today, and that is the press.
Right.
That's what we were known for. And I feel we didn't have the depth to do that last year. But
Right.
so now when we do have like 13, 14 players, you know, well, we'll have 14 when we get Ashley Cunningham back.
Right.
You know, which is She's down in Florida.
Okay.
I have to speak on that. Sorry, she lost her father passed over the weekend.
Well, condolences to the
And
family. We're
this
sorry
week,
to
I
hear that.
mean. So, but just by having her back, when we get her back, 14 deep, that would be great. That would be great. That's what we're trying to get back to, just subbing in, having fresh legs. They give us however many minutes they can, pressure defense with press, and when they get tired, because we'll sub them out. Because I don't expect any of them to play the style of play that we are playing and be able to play 30 minutes.
To
You
sustain
can't.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, most teams will not be
Exactly.
able
You
to
can't.
sustain what you do. And one of the things I alluded to in the first half is you're playing the first half for the second half, because in the second half, that team that plays 8 or 9 players but may only have 2 or 3 key components,
Exactly.
they're not going to be able to compete in the third quarter. You're going to see that drop off. And we looked up with 105 left in the third quarter, and I think you guys have run it up to about a 27, 28-point lead. With that being said, 1 or 2 more things. I like the way you guys are playing with the high-low. You're running a lot of that, I call it that high-low slide. You're doing a lot of diagonal skip passes out of the post, which, you know, that's when you're going to find that shooter stepping into their sweet spot. You know, you're doing a lot of, if one flashes to the short corner, the high dives to the front of the rim. Benford and DeQuina Moore did a great job of playing off of one another in those type situations. Obviously, you can tell it's been worked on, because every time you slide someone to the short corner, somebody would dive to the front of the rim. How does that make you feel when you see?
Oh, man.
It's almost like being an artist when you sit back and see what you kind of put together. You know what I'm saying? So it was great to see that.
Oh, yeah, I'll post a dynamic, you know. I love it when they demand a double team. You know, so we've worked on that a lot, you know, what we call it a red screen and look high-low. So anytime, you know, you can see the jersey number of our post players, I'm screaming, give it to them.
Get it to them. Get it to them.
Get it to them.
Right. And the last thing I wanted to touch on, from a everything's positive, but, you know, one thing I want to ask you about cleaning up, player efficiency. When I look at it, I wrote myself a note, less minutes, value possessions. So when I look at that, I looked at Tierra Johnson, Alexis Hines, Tweety Hawkins, those 3 right there in particular, not to exclude anyone, but when I look at those 3 in the game, when they play at such a pace, and you can rotate them in, you can play them off of Kayla Price. KJB didn't have her typical game. Obviously, she fouled out. You know, she had some foul issues. She got the first foul inside of 2 minutes of the first quarter.
Yeah, we were struggling at the beginning, but it's okay.
But that's okay. You work through those type things.
Exactly.
But that's where that player efficiency comes into play, and I'm glad you brought that up, because with the KJB going out, guess what? Unless you're really honed in and paying attention to the game, you don't miss that.
Exactly.
Because you had those other pieces, those other components.
Exactly.
So it's nice to have that.
Yeah, especially with, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, especially with when one goes down, you know, like KJ in foul trouble, then next thing you know, Tierra get one quick foul and we sub her for KJ. It's good to have players like Kayla Price. That's a steady guard. KP is going to be steady for him, offensively and defensively. Then you bring someone in like Tweety Hawkins or Alexis, you know, and Dejan. So it's good to have those, and we work with them every day in practice. You know, they're not where we would like for them to be right now, but it's like, who is, as long as we keep working on it. So
right.
I can see the growth. I can see them getting better, so we're going to just keep doing it.
Now, the last thing, obviously, we got to speak to the 29 turnovers.
Oh, God, why you got to speak on that? I know. That was the first thing they asked me when I came in the locker room. How many turnovers we had, Coach? Because they knew that was the first thing I was going to look at.
Right.
But, you know, we had a lot of the travels and the 3 seconds.
3-second calls was somewhat sketchy in the first half. It was what I thought was a quick whistle.
It was, because we didn't have any in the second half.
Right. Well, but you know what? And I know you won't want to take the credit, but that's a credit of you, because one of the things I said on the broadcast was you called the official over, and you basically you somewhat kind of asked her how she was going to be calling the game in certain situations, which that allowed, when you called that next time out, you can confer with the ladies and let them know, hey, here's some of the things that are going to be taking place, and they went out and executed what you had given them.
Exactly.
And, you know, those are things, obviously, as I'm over here doing the broadcast, that I have to pay attention to, so I can kind of tell the listeners, hey, here's what's going on and so on. But they did a great job of not picking those up in the second half. And that had a lot to do with you working the officials, so to
Yeah,
speak.
working the officials and the players, because we were standing. Like, one of them in particular, it probably was a 3-second.
Right.
Because we bad at passing inside, waiting for the post to make a move
Right.
instead of the guards cutting off or the other post cutting.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't blame the officials.
No.
I work them,
Yeah,
but it's okay. At the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, they human just like we are. They
Right.
make mistakes, we do. So
Right.
they just trying to do their job.
So how's it feel? You got Armstrong tomorrow. I'm sorry, Livingston tomorrow at 3:30.
Correct. I mean, Livingstone, they're in a position that not as bad as we were last year. We wasn't as bad as they are now. But she only has, like, 6 players? So she's struggling. But
But that's not going to stop you from pressing.
we got to do what we do best.
Right.
And, I mean, if it was the other way around, how would it be? So we'll just play smart and play our game.
Right.
That's
right.
all we know how to do.
That's all. You do what you do best, like
That's
you said.
right.
And tonight, you all went out and did what you do best. I know we had some turnovers to clean up, but
Yeah,
as
we did.
every point I touched on, it was nothing but positive throughout the ball game, because you have to be able to look at it from, it's like painting a painting. You got to paint it with a broad brush.
Exactly.
And the brush that I painted with tonight, I saw a lot of great things. I saw you playing a lot of depth. I attribute some of the turnovers to a lack of chemistry.
Of course, yeah.
So, and it's early. But the bottom line is 77-50. You got the win.
77-50, I got to win, and I got to get to play another game tomorrow.
That's right. You live to see another day.
That's right. That's right. Against a good team because they only have 6, but she has some players that can actually play. So we got to be ready. And I'm going to make sure, we have to shoot around in the morning, and we're going to try to get there.
Coach, that sounds like a little coach speak to me, but I'm gonna let you off.
Hey,
I'm gonna let you off the hook right now.
That's serious. That's serious. We respect. I do, and I make sure our players respect every opponent, whether they have 6 players or 15 players.
Absolutely. And
we respect everyone.
I ended the broadcast and I said, Coach wants to keep them hungry and
Exactly.
humble. I said, as long as she can do that with what she has, she knows she has a recipe for success.
Exactly.
Coach, I appreciate your time. I know you got other things to do besides talking to me all night. But you
No,
owed me
it's
since
good.
you made me wait. But
I'm sorry.
that's okay. I'm just messing with you. This is PJ Mays with Coach Kaleena Coleman. You're listening to the Clayton State Sports Network for Lakers basketball as the Lakers win 77-50 to run their record out. What are you, Coach, 4-1 now? 5-1? That's right. I tried to cheat you one day.
It's okay.
Hey, run out to 5-1. Great job. We're signing off. PJ Mays, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Thank you.